The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
About 100 years ago, almost 100 years ago, one of the great yeshivas in Eretz Yisrael asked somebody in America to be the guest of honor at an upcoming dinner. This was before the 1929 crash. And the way I heard the story was he gave a tremendous amount. I think he gave $30,000, which almost 100 years ago was an exorbitant sum. Unfortunately, by the time the dinner came around, there was the 29 crash, and he lost everything. So somehow they must have contacted him, and they must have asked him. I'm sure they did it from the yeshiva, obviously very respectfully, but they asked him, they had asked him to be the MC, perhaps even an honoree, but now he had lost all his wealth. So they wondered perhaps they could ask and give it to someone else. And he said, no, I'm not masking. You asked me. It's true I lost my wealth, but I'm not giving it up, and I'm going to be the master of ceremonies. And I'm told that night in America, at that dinner, after he lost his wealth, this is what he got up and said. Rabbi, when you walked into this hotel ballroom, you passed the hotel on the left. I used to own that hotel. They took it away from me. I lost it. When you entered this hotel, there was a hotel on the right. I owned it. And they took it away from me. I lost it too. In fact, the very hotel and ballroom that we're in right now used to be mine. On the left, the right, the center, I lost it all. The one thing they didn't take away from me was the $30,000 that I gave to this yeshiva. That I still have. And that they could never take away. And that's why he said he wanted to remain the master of ceremonies, to impart that lesson to everyone. I had the hotel on the left, the right, and the center, and that they took away from me. But in Kesef Talves Ami, if you want to keep the one thing that they can't take away, that's what you give. That's what you give to the Ani, to the people, to the places, the institutions that need it. Because that could taka be malava you and escort you. It happened a number of years ago. There was a wonderful, wonderful physician who built a tremendous family and two incredible institutions here in South Florida. Dr. Joel Dennis, Zechrono Livrocha, he passed away a number of years ago. Of the many things that he helped build and create that he's primarily responsible for, it's actually this shul that we're in now, Sharei Tefillah, as well as the Hillel Community Day School a couple miles north from here. Now, let me give you a little bit of a background. He was a wonderful orthopedic surgeon. About 30 or so years ago, there was a year that the Hillel Community Day School that he helped to found, they didn't have a principal. So he stopped, as I was told the story. He retired for the year from orthopedic surgery to be the headmaster of the school, which is incredible. You have to have such a love for a school and for chinuch to give up a career for the year, but that's exactly what he did. And on the first day that he told the board of directors, including the president, that I'll be the headmaster for the year, he said, but I'm taking a salary. I insist on a salary of $1. The year came and went, and Joel Dennis did an extraordinary job of running the school. At the end of the year, they got a replacement, somebody to step up and become the principal. So on the final day of the year, when the board called in Dr. Joel Dennis to thank him, the president of the board got up, and he took out a $10 bill. And he wrote on the back of the $10 bill the words to Dr. Joel Dennis, this represents a 1,000% increase in your salary. We thank you for the extraordinary job that you did, and the president signed his name and handed him the $10 bill. This was many, many years ago, about 30 years ago. And he held on to that bill for a number of years. I guess after a number of years, he certainly enjoyed it and appreciated it, but there was no longer any reason to hold on to it, and he spent it like anybody would spend a $10 bill. Fast forward about 17 years. A number of years ago on an Erev Shabbos, Dr. Joel Dennis passed away. And the secretary at that time here of the Shul Sharei Tefillah was in Miami Beach purchasing a coffee. And she went to one of the stores on 31st Street in Miami Beach, and she bought a coffee, and she paid with a $20 bill. And they gave her change. They gave her a $10 bill and a few singles. She put it in her car, and then she came here to work. A few hours later, when it was coming closer to Shabbos, she wanted to remove the money, and she noticed when she picked up the $10 bill that she had been given earlier that day, there was writing on it. And she saw that the writing was exactly what I told you to Dr. Joel Dennis. This $10 bill represents a 1,000% increase in your salary, and exactly what I just told you. Approximately 17 years later, Maisa Shahaya Kachaya. I'm telling you the story firsthand. So if you ever question an improbable or unlikely story, I'm giving you firsthand what may very well be the single most unlikely story, except it happened with me. And there was a while that you could have gone and seen the $10 bill. For about 17 years, that bill circulated wherever it went. A statistician once told me after 30 days of spending a bill, you'll almost never see that bill again. And here, after 17 years, it crisscrossed the globe. And on the day that he passed away, on the day, the secretary of the shul that he helped found was given the $10 bill from the school that he founded. After the story happened, I called one of our Gedolei Hador and I said, the story is so improbable, except firsthand, I'm telling you how it happened. I asked the Gadol, what is the takeaway that I could share with people? And the Gadol said, the Gadol Hador, I should say, said, there's only one takeaway. It is indeed so unlikely and improbable that the only takeaway is, we takeno kiloi b'moisoi yikach hakol. You can't take it with you. The only thing you could take with you is in Kesef Kalves Ami, the Schusim. You can't even take with you a $10 bill. Oh, but a $10 bill that represents the school that you founded, the shul that you founded, those Schusim melava and escort you eternally, as they indeed were melava Dr. Joel Dennis Zichrono Livracha. On the very day that he passed away, after approximately 17 years, the $10 bill surfaced to the secretary of the shul he founded from the school he founded, and the Gadol Hador told me the takeaway is, the money, the $10 bill, that you can't take with you. Over the Schusim, the school that you founded, the shul that you founded, the chesed that you did, that is melava you eternally. And indeed, it was melava Dr. Dennis. And those are schusim that he has for eternity.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org